Hello, it's Mike Less, and this video is about side dressing corn. I'm doing a little multitasking in this video. We are in my home area, and these two tractors you see in the video here in the applicators belong to a local farmer that I do help on the weekends and on my vacation time. So I'm doing a little bit of multitasking here. I'm running the smaller John Deere tractor, the 7130, and I'm also trying to get some video at the same time. There's several different fields in this video. This video was shot in Darke County, Ohio, so western Ohio. And there is fields in this video anywhere from west of Greenville, Ohio to south of Greenville in the Arcanum, New Madison, Ohio area. And also a little bit, there's one field in this video that's down in Preble County close to West Manchester, Ohio. So I just took various video shots here and there when I could, both with the drone and on the ground. And I also have a few shots from inside the cab of the tractor. In this video is a John Deere 7130 tractor, which is pulling a Case IH or DMI NPX 2800 nitrogen applicator, and also is a John Deere 7830, which is pulling a Case IH 2800 applicator with a 1300 gallon tank. So I'm pulling a 12 row applicator, and the other one is taking 16 rows at a time. So sometimes we worked in different fields, sometimes in the same field together, as you see here. So there's many different ways to apply nitrogen to corn. I just had a video on using anhydrous ammonia, which was the last video uploaded to YouTube using a Versatile 310, and many of you probably seen that video already. Another way to do it is using liquid nitrogen, or UAN, urea ammonium nitrate, and that either comes in 28% nitrogen form or 32%. 28% is most common in the northern climates. It is diluted a little bit with water because the freezing point is less on it, and the 32% is used more in the southern regions for corn. It freezes easier and may drop off and salt up, so you don't see that too much up in the northern states. So this nitrogen, or 28% nitrogen, or UAN, is also mixed with some N-Serve, which is a nitrogen stabilizer, which slows the loss of nitrogen for the corn. Also has a little bit of sugar in it, which helps do that, and some sulfur, due to some sulfur deficiencies in the soil for the corn. So the applicator discs and points just run between the rows, and the liquid nitrogen drips out, which leaches over to the corn and gives it the fertilizer it needs, or the nitrogen it needs. Some of this is applied while the corn is planted, you know, in a starter fertilizer or mixed with a starter fertilizer. And a lot of guys, it's just pretty common practice to come back in after the corn's up a couple inches and give it another shot. Corn begins rapid uptake and utilization of nitrogen at about the 7-leaf stage. So right now what you're seeing here is a good time to give it to the corn. This is when it needs it. The yield potential of corn is determined in the first 30 to 40 days. So, you know, we had a crappy spring here where the corn was planted. It was dry, then it rained for about 2 weeks straight and was kind of cold. And that, you know, that affects the yield of the crop early on even. As I said, the corn, you know, uses a lot of the nitrogen at about the 7-leaf stage. By about the third week before tasseling the mid-sow, corn plants have used about half of the season's total nitrogen. So that's why adding the sugar or the N-Serve to slow it down so it's not lost in, you know, with a lot of rain or just lost in the atmosphere. So that helps slow it down, so they can kind of spread that out for the corn plant so they can get it as it needs it, you know, with while it's growing. Another fact about nitrogen that I dug up and found for you: approximately 80% of the plant's total nitrogen needs occur around 75 days after emergence. So this corn was planted, say, probably the third week of April, so about 75 days after that is when it needs it. However, you have to do this before the corn gets, if you're doing it this way, you have to do it before it gets too tall. A lot of guys in some areas are experimenting using self-propelled sprayers, and they're doing several applications of this as the corn grows. So you're not putting, in this video here, when you go through one time like this, you're shooting for about 55 gallons of nitrogen per acre, but guys are doing multiple applications where they're putting on a little bit at a time. It's just more work, and of course when you're doing this, you're running corn down on the end rows and stuff. so you're making more trips across the field. But in the end, they say it pays off as you spread it out. And there was a shot there you seen of a Case IH. There was a neighboring farmer that was applying or side dressing his corn with anhydrous ammonia, and while I was filming, I just thought I'd throw that in there too. Anhydrous ammonia is a little bit cheaper way to do it. It's cheaper than 28% nitrogen. However, it is can be a little more dangerous, and you can't go as fast because you're knifing it, down into the ground. So it's a little slower process, and it can burn the corn if it doesn't seal good and leaks out. And anhydrous ammonia can also be very hard on the soil structure. Running about 7 miles an hour in this video, and just in case you notice there, as the applicator goes up and down the field, you can see that with the aerial view, that looks like we're skipping a row. So if anybody wonders why we're doing that in this video, the end nozzles on the applicator are actually it's got a bigger orifice in it, so we're actually putting twice the amount on there, so you could skip a row and kind of run. So if you're really with that one, that's taking 11 row center, so if you was planting with a 12-row planter over, you could just follow where the planter went. And putting this on when the corn's at about this stage, when you're turning on the end rows and stuff, as long as you don't break the plant off when you're turning, it just kind of lays it over. A lot of times, a lot of that corn will come back and be okay. So you drive by this field here after turning on the end rows and side dressing, it gets a good rain on it, and driving down from the road, you'll hardly be able to tell that this corn was drove over on the end rows as we were turning. So I'm going to give you a little bit here of filling up. So you go out, put on about 800 gallons with this applicator. You got to come back and fill up here. So I got the GoPro mounted on my forehead here, and Bert here is kind of camera shy, so he's getting the hose hooked up, and I'm going to walk around and start to pump up and fill the applicator. And that road you're seeing right there is State Route 127, and that's Otterbein Ithaca Road. There's the big cell phone tower. So this is just north of Castine, Ohio, right here. The 7130 John Deere tractor in this video is, I spent a lot of hours in the tractor this spring because it was actually hooked to one of the soybean planters too, so I no-tilled some soybeans with that tractor. And it's about 125 horsepower, engine horsepower on that tractor, and that tractor is actually made in Germany. Nice little tractor to run. And then the 7830 you see here is built in Waterloo, Iowa, and that's about 205 engine horsepower. And the rig you see across the road there, guy was no-tilling some soybeans over there with 8950 Magnum and a John Deere seeder. There's his tender, but was hoping he was going to be by the road when I was doing this, but it didn't work out that way. So there's another local farmer there, side dressing the field right beside there with his anhydrous ammonia. And that is Hollinsburg Arcanum Road, which is south of Greenville. And in the very back there is 127, State Route 127, or U.S. Route 127, excuse me. And that little white building you can see over there is Petey's Pizza, just a little pizza shop out in the country. It's got some pretty darn good pizza. So here I am doing a little multitasking. I was just about out of nitrogen here, so it's going to have to fill up pretty soon, and the truck wasn't back, so I popped the drone up to try to get both tractors in the same picture here at the same time. In this shot here, filling up both applicators at the same time, you're going to see an aerial shot, and I put some pictures of this on my Instagram and got some comments out. Some pretty crappy looking corn right there. Well, this area you see right here, you know, after this corn was planted, took on about 8 inches of rain total for 2 weeks and got cold, and this area here was underwater. But actually everything after this was put on, we got some rain and it recovered, and this area looks pretty good in this field right now. It doesn't look too bad at all. And there is kind of a gravel driveway up there. Used to be an old farmhouse, a farmstead back there. And also going to give you some video here, some rock picking action. I don't know, some of these rocks slipped through or didn't pick them up planting or working the field, so I hit one of these rocks and busted shank off on the applicator, had to stop and weld it up. So when I see these big ones, I try to get them out of the field. Don't have a real good place to put them, but would put them on the applicator bar there, drive to the end of the field, and dump them off, as you're going to see here soon. There's a picture of the rock, and I'm going to get to the end of the field here, get out of the tractor, and pick that thing up, carry it over, and drop it down in the drainage ditch. It don't matter how good you pick up rocks, it just seems like every year, some of these big ones work their way back up, and you get rid of them and work the ground, and then another one pops up. And also through this field, there was a railroad that run right through the middle of this field and had to slow down over there. Still a lot of gravel and stuff, a lot of railroad spikes, and even plates that they used on the railroad ties and the tracks. There's a lot of them in this field. And you either got to decide, am I going to get some work done, or am I going to stop and pick up every little thing? So try to do this. Actually, a good time to pick these up, like last fall when there were soybeans in here. After the soybeans are off, you can drive through here with the skid loader and get rid of a lot of these rocks, but it always seems like you miss a few. Just part of the deal. So that's one thing we have in Ohio in this clay soil is a lot of rocks, anywhere from small to the size you see there. And sometimes even bigger than that. Sometimes you have to get the backhoe out here and dig them out. We'll give you some driving footage here. I got the head strap with my GoPro mounted on it there. And yes, I did come to a full and complete stop there. They're just a little camera trick there. It looked like I made a rolling stop, but I swear I did really stop there. So following the other tractor and applicator to another field, and that's pretty well going to wrap up this video. Kind of gives you a good idea and what we did here, side dressing the corn. Of course, there's a lot of tractor driving jobs I like doing around the farm, but side dressing corn is definitely one of my favorite. Just got to pay attention a lot, because you're tracking down the rows and the tires, the tractor just fit between, so you can't be looking at your phone and stuff. You swerve off a little bit and you're going to run down some corn. Not that I would ever do that. I would never look at my phone when I'm driving a tractor or a vehicle, but got Got my big old Blue Parrot Bluetooth on, and you can talk on the phone, no problem, but you really got to pay attention when you're doing this. But anyways, that's pretty well the video of side dressing corn here, and thanks for watching it. Hope you enjoyed it.